You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, it's AFTERBUZZ TV's Game Control Live.
Hey guys, and welcome to Game Control Live as we blast some Guitaroo Man from the official soundtrack, Fly Into Your Heart. The reason I'm playing this is because John had me try Guitaroo Man this week, and I was like, this song is amazing. I like it. All right, so across the table, Grant Kohrmann.
Howdy, everybody.
What's up, Grant?
And next to him, Patrick Dees.
What is up?
And guys, next to me, the lovely Kaori Takee.
Hey.
And guys, I'm Dave Klein. In the booth, John Quick.
Yes, it is. It's John Quick in the booth.
The question is, are you wearing pants this week? That's what all the viewers want to know.
Everyone wants to know.
No, I am not wearing pants.
Excellent. Okay.
Not at all. Not even close.
And guys, if you want to call in and you're watching the live chat, call in at 424-256-1729. Live chat every week, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And with that said, guys, I do want to apologize if you miss Rachel. She's at VidCon this week doing her YouTube thing.
But you know what? You know what it doesn't. You know what it doesn't matter, because listen to these beats. You know what? Let's take a second. Let's get up and dance. How about it? Yeah, you can.
Okay, that doesn't really work for people listening podcast-wise.
They can deal. They can deal. Because I'm dancing right now.
They're dancing too. They're dancing.
Yeah. Ryan Whittleson says that the opening sounds like the opening to Doctor Who.
A little bit.
Patrick, John, weigh in.
A little bit.
There's room for you to do some breakdancing here in the middle of this really
I
fragile
think
table.
I'd break it apart, yeah.
Yes, please.
So, guys, today we're going to touch on Phil Fish canceling Fez 2. Quite the controversy over that. Damsel in Distress Part 3 from Anita Sarkeesian is out.
Last part.
Sexuality and gaming discussion based off of Dragon's Crown, which was just released. Our gaming moments of the week, and a whole bunch of quick hit news stories. So basically, this is the controversial episode where you're going to learn which of us you hate. That's what this episode's about.
Yeah. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
So, guys, strap on your bootstraps, and let's go ahead and jump into Phil Fish canceling Fez 2, because that news story came straight out of last week's Game Control Live, like right afterwards that came out, where he got into a Twitter war with Marcus Beer, who's a personality on Game Trailers Invisible Walls, where Marcus had talked about on Invisible Walls, he basically called out Phil Fish for being an annoying hipster, hating Phil Fish, his personality, and just calling it, basically completely ripping him apart. So Phil Fish then told Marcus Beer to go kill himself.
Yep.
And Marcus,
as you do on Twitter.
Yeah, as you do on Twitter, as a professional.
You're right.
You might as well.
Yeah.
And Marcus Beer had a snooty response back, so Phil Fish said, F it, I'm canceling Fez 2, walked away. Premise, let's go.
Premise.
I mean,
That's the setup.
life on the internet. I thought it was a little dramatic, and frankly, I think Marcus is one of the more talented people in gaming. So I tend to appreciate his comments. I do think Phil's a little bit of a hipster, but that is what it is. Like anybody that creates. I mean, you guys know your internet personalities. I mean, you put yourself out there. That's part of the modern day internet. I thought it was really dramatic and probably points to maybe problems in development. It can't be just about this Twitter war.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is purely about this. If you
remind yourself
this is Phil Fish.
And, and like with Fez, like there's no problems with development right now in Fez 2, because like he was like scrapping the game art assets and redoing half the game a couple weeks before the release of Fez. So I mean, he's not like he this is not the time where like the game is like halfway done and he's reached a brick wall. This is him responding directly to the criticism he's received.
So our live chat is bleeping out Phil for some reason. So Alyssa White said Phil Fish is always controversial, so I'm not surprised really. Yeah, it must be. George Clooney on the chat chiming in saying, I don't believe Fez 2 is really going to be canceled. I actually don't believe it had ever really been started up, to be honest, which, I mean, who knows with Phil. But the thing is, Phil, this is very much his personality, is when you watch Indie game or Indie the movie, you watch or anything, and yeah, it's going to put people out a certain way. It's going to portray that. But anytime you've seen his tweets, this is how he is. He's very much, he really responds poorly to any tweets negatively.
Yep.
When Fez won the Game of the Year or the award at IGDA or IGA, he tweeted out, "Everyone can suck my dick."
Ew.
Like, that's just his personality. And
People on the internet talking like crass rude people.
I mean, frankly, like, I think I don't like him personality-wise. I don't like him. I think Fez is a good game, so
Right.
good to him on making that. But I think he comes out like a complete jerk, a total asshole, and very immature. And I have people telling me to kill myself too on the internet.
This is his personality.
Yeah, people hate my voice.
But it's just like he needs to
This is
get
his
over it and move
personality.
forward.
I mean, like, it's interesting that we're able to give David Scott Jaff.
I
Like,
mean,
a
I'm
pass
sorry. I
on
feel
that.
bad this is happening to him, but I do feel bad for him.
He invites it. Fuck him.
I don't think it's...
Crazy, Bill!
No, I mean, like, I think because of Indie Game the movie and because of this crazy long development cycle and this darling that was Fez, I don't think he asked to be kind of the face of indie gaming, but it's kind of been thrust upon him. I don't think he was ready for that. And I mean, it is sad. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you engage in people who are trolling you, it's just going to give them energy. I'm at a point where
it's
people
true.
talk shit on Twitter, people talk shit anywhere else. I just block them and move on.
Yeah.
Right, or just
talking
don't
shit on
read
him.
it. Or just
I
like
haven't
I
gotten to
think
that point yet.
I have to ignore it. If I read it, it's in my head. So it's just
Yeah.
a block and I'm over it, right? And so I think, I mean, it's a bummer that a possible very awesome game is now potentially scrapped because you can't deal with internet hate.
I like how
I
it's
don't
like
think it's
potentially, and like it's almost possible. Potential, like people are saying potentially possible, almost, maybe, and that's what it's the real sign about. That's that's the truth about him is like he does this controversial stuff. He'll cancel a game and then put it
right,
back on.
and then it'll come back. Joseph Bo's on the chat saying that Phil's trying to use the sympathy card to get people to beg him to finish the game even though it's canceled.
That's what I was
Did you
thinking,
guys
too.
did you guys
Yeah.
see what happened on 4chan? He went on the message boards, and this could either be a fake, like somebody
Oh, God damn
pretending.
it. Seriously?
What?
Why are you using 4chan as a reference?
No, not
No,
the fact that
putting
he's
it in
using
context.
4chan as a reference.
I'm putting it in context. Okay,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
hold on. Without interruptions from the booth. He supposedly this could be a hoax, but like he went on 4chan after posting that and posted to 4chan a picture of the tweet saying, "Look what you guys did. We got this amazing game canceled." Now he posted the message anonymously, but somebody pointed out, and again, like I said, this could be a hoax, that the tweet that was captured, the image, showed the option to delete the tweet, meaning it was him. Whoever took the picture of it was logged in as Polytron or
someone's like a
Phil.
Photoshop artist.
Yeah. There's
Well, of
always
course,
that,
of
right? But that's
course.
interesting. I didn't see that.
But that wasn't. It wasn't initial. It wasn't like touched upon in the tweet. So it's like somebody noticed it afterwards. But again, like you're saying, like I was saying before, it could be a hoax. Could have been people working in concert to make it appear as that he is as
Right.
pathetic as he is. But if it was true, that is amazingly pathetic. It's
Right,
kind of
it
like
is.
it's like he's rushing out there to try and create that.
Now on the flip
The
side,
worry.
here's Cliffy B came out with a
That's
statement.
where I was going. Yeah, absolutely.
So Cliffy B ended up really sympathizing with Phil Fish, talking about trying to give him advice on haters and internet trolls and how relating personal stories that he got about people telling him to go kill himself right after his dad died when he did stuff on the internet. And it was actually, I usually don't like Cliffy B on the internet. I find him very annoying, but I actually like this. I was like, this is a good statement from Cliffy B. I thought it was very positive and motivational. As much as I think Phil Fish is a dick, I think this was a great motivational comment from Cliffy B. And really, I'd like to see Fez 2 come out. I don't talk crap about Phil Fish on Twitter. I'm talking crap about him right now because I think this is retarded.
Yep.
Sorry about the harsh language there, but it is. I mean, it's just so stupid to do this and let that control your life.
I don't know. Like, Cliffy B, one of Cliffy B's comments, sorry to interrupt you, Patrick, is that Phil Fish is the guy that speaks from his heart, and he's kind of a truth teller. Phil Fish speaks from the heart of a 12-year-old. Every
his
single
heart is like a corrupt,
yeah, he makes
mean person.
He makes a good game. I will not congratulations, dude. Keep making games. I'm gonna keep playing them, but
not only
shut
that,
the hell
like,
up.
Keep making games and actually patch them too.
Why is he so
so-
sensitive about this?
I think that's the
what
core.
just bothers me.
I think you guys
He's
are being a little
generally
done.
sensitive person.
But then
Right.
if you're in the limelight like this and you're an indie developer, why do you let this stuff bother you?
It's
You
easier.
can't.
I think it's easier said than done. He didn't ask to be the face of indie gaming. He really didn't. He just
But
was
he-
trying to build a game. He was
enjoyed it.
passionate
He
about
could-
it. I think we're being a little hard on the guy, and that's why I loved what Cliffy B said. Like he said, channel all that. What he said, like put it in your gut and then make something 10 times better.
And then come all over
Yeah,
everybody
it-
with
But
it.
it sounds
It's
like a
really
parent.
bad.
It sounds like a father telling his son how to handle something.
It was great. And
well,
Cliff
yeah,
has
it's
dealt with it
good.
well. And probably didn't. I mean, you build a tolerance to it. Phil's still relatively new, right? Phil blew up when Indie Game the movie came out, right? As a personality. And so I think he's still acclimating to just this immense internet hate that everybody inevitably will
Well,
get.
here's
But he
another
goes
reason-
out of his way to respond to them. That's what gets
I
me.
let
agree,
them
and you shouldn't.
see.
It gives them steam.
Well, the thing is, like,
Yeah.
okay, he says things that are honest, but he's really bad about the way that he does it. So, for
Sure.
example, when he came out and the Japanese developer asked him at a panel
Right.
and said, "Hey, what do you think about the state of the
Was it a
Japanese gaming
Japanese
industry?"
developer or a
It was a
Japanese-
Japanese developer who asked him. And he said to the Japanese developer at this conference in front of everybody, "Well,
I think it's
Japanese
because they
games just suck."
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you just don't, he has no tact.
Yeah, it's
and
almost
that's
like
the
he's like
problem.
socially inept.
Right again, but he's a developer, right? Like maybe he shouldn't be the face of Polytron is the point. But I mean, it was a
Yeah,
very
there should
small
be-
studio.
that's what I thought when I was watching the movie and like seeing what happened with him after releasing the game, and he couldn't patch the problems out of it because
Right.
it was too expensive. I always thought, hey, you know what? He needs somebody there by his side. He
needs
needs
an-
an equally tactful business person or PR person,
a media
helping him.
coach
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
along those lines. Like he would be ideal if he could sit in a room, code, and innovate. Right? That's Phil's role.
Yeah, he
Right.
really
Yeah.
needs to be behind a door.
Well,
coding.
he just needs to be off of Twitter. He needs to be off of Twitter.
he is
needs
now,
to
right?
stop
It's all
no,
private?
he locked it and then he opened it back up.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he's like a kid because he doesn't know what he
Exactly.
wants. He
I'm
likes
going to
the
my
attention.
room.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
and
like, I'm
then
gonna not
like
do
he
this.
walks
So
back out to
there.
have dinner.
What do
Yeah,
you guys want?
Well said.
Exactly. And Joseph Bosa agreeing with you, saying he's acting like a child. I don't think that it's him though really saying.
Yeah.
My gut is telling me that maybe his Twitter got raided by the competition trying to eliminate Fez 2. I don't think so. He
No.
definitely did
No,
this.
he did it.
Definitely did this.
How do you guys feel that we actually will see Fez 2?
I think we will.
That's like super
It's like-
conspiratorial,
will.
Joseph.
It's like a little kid feeling like.
I think he was having a temper tantrum
Yeah,
and he's going to be back.
exactly.
I think at the end of the day, that's what he loves doing is making games. Otherwise, he wouldn't be putting up with it. And I think he's going to do it again. Although he surprised everyone. Polytron devs were surprised, like Marie Christine Bordeaux, who I think is the producer
Yeah.
there,
Right.
was completely surprised. She
Yep.
found out the same way as everyone else. Alyssa White making a good point, though, that Tommy Rafine's, Ed McMillan, and John Blow are all way more gracious than Fish and are big in indie gaming. They were also in Indie Game the movie. They also receive crap all the time, and John Blow talks about it. Ed McMillan's talked about it. But Ed McMillan comes off, even though Team Meat says some things that I don't like,
Yep.
Ed McMillan still comes off as a good guy.
Good, humble. I
Because
think,
because
down
he
to
just
earth.
doesn't like respond the wrong way, and that's the issue.
With Phil, he ran himself into a really difficult development problem with Fez, and I think that just exacerbated the problem quite a bit because, like what Alyssa mentions, all of those developers they did multiple platforms for their first first indie release.
Super
first
Meat
2
Boy
or
was
3.
only XBLA.
Yeah, but then they came out and they released on Steam, and they like when they released their second game, like it was like Steam as well. So I mean, they don't limit themselves.
Well, their second
like
game was
he did.
only Steam.
Yeah.
Their second game was only Steam, so that's pretty limited too.
But I think they're catering to a much larger audience, whereas where Phil is like he's putting his game out there and he's working in a very predefined environment where it cost him what he was saying $30,000 to patch Fez problems at first, and like Microsoft lowered the amount, and I just think that like it highlighted how he had to do these extra things that other developers wouldn't have to normally do in order to fix their games. Like you wouldn't have to pay $30,000.
No, that's the, no, yeah, you do.
Game
Yeah,
on
100%.
Steam, on
Oh,
Steam.
okay,
XX Webslinger pointing out that Rachel needs a shave. I think she's talking about over there.
What's it? She never sits here, and I'm a brunette instead of a blonde.
So look, I think he's a good developer. I think he makes good games. I think he just
Clearly.
needs to learn how to shut up, and that's it.
Which is easier said than done. I mean, it's easier said than done.
It
So
is,
I
but
mean,
sure, yeah. Once you get like tons of Twitter followers, it's fun to respond.
Sure.
But, like, you need to pick your just. I don't know. I mean, it's
Block it
hard
out
to
and
say
focus
that.
on the
pick your
positive.
battles. I'm wondering if this was intentional, and like this is his battle. This is his like.
Well, I mean,
his,
he was.
his,
I
like,
mean,
stand-up moment.
admittedly, this wasn't just a Twitter person. This was Marcus Beer of Invisible Walls saying this crap about him, and that would suck. And anything like that is hurtful. I will give him that. It hurts. It sucks when you get that stuff. but you don't just cancel your game over that.
You know what
Yeah.
you know what the best revenge would have been? Making Fez 2 the greatest fucking game in the world and having
You can't always
beer
count on that though.
Yeah, and having beer have to, you know, choke on his own damn words.
Well, that's
Or be
exactly
a boss in the game.
and that is exactly what Cliffy B said.
Totally.
And I think that was, again, great advice from Cliffy B. But let's go ahead and move forward from this discussion to the next controversial topic, which would be Anita Sarkeesian has released her third Damsels in Distress trope video. If you guys don't support her, then don't watch it and give reviews. If you guys do support her, curious, go ahead and give reviews. I'm just saying, like, it really, guys, if you guys hate it so much, this is the one thing to me. It was released a few days ago. It already has over 100,000 views. And if people really hate it that much, stop watching it.
I know, yeah.
Oh, this
Go
is a
ahead,
place
stop.
to talk about it.
Like,
This is
Stop
the weakest
watching it.
out of all
We
the
could do a
3
whole
videos, though.
show on this topic, though. I
Yeah.
feel like we could talk about this for forever.
Well, she disabled the likes
So-
in the comments. So.
Did she?
So Patrick,
Okay.
which is kind of intelligent, I'm not gonna lie.
So, well, okay, yeah, and comments, but I think the comments thing is annoying. But Patrick, you haven't been with us and talked about with us before, because we've talked about this several times. How do you
Yeah,
feel
I know exactly how Dave
specifically
thinks
about this video? Not about this part 3, though.
I think everybody knows how I feel.
Sum
about
this
it
up
as
for me
well.
then really quickly. What's the feeling in the room about these?
Mixed,
Okay.
pretty mixed, I guess. I mean, I personally, I don't agree with Anita Sarkeesian's standpoint because I'll give you the highlights of my points, I guess, is that I don't think damsels in distress is a problem as a trope, because I think there's a reason it exists in humanity for the sake of just who we are biologically for as human beings. But I think that there should be different types of games and different games, and I think there are, and we're
If I
seeing
can
more
play
and
as a
more.
Krogan, if I can play as like a scientist Solarian, I think I can play as I think I can reverse the gender roles of a damsel in distress. That's all I'm saying. It
No,
doesn't
but
matter if it exists
No, I'm saying
in
it's
humanity.
fine. I'm saying no. I'm
You're
saying
playing,
it.
you're playing as a prepubescent elf in The Legend of Zelda. You're not
Look,
exactly filling the human role.
Regardless, though, I think it's fine to reverse and play with the tropes. I think it's fine for other things to exist. I just don't think there's a problem with this trope existing, which seems to be
I
her
agreed with her
huge
She's
first 2 videos.
stretching.
It's this third video which becomes the hardest, because she's actually arguing against games that do maybe not effectively, but do reverse the
This is
gender
my
role.
favorite part. This is my
Yeah,
favorite part of the video.
That was a great commercial.
The favorite part of the video is where the princess, her powers are emotionally melting down. I found this offensive, which was
I actually remember this commercial airing, and
Unbelievable.
I thought it was a little bit odd. I mean, like, I remember because this was a couple years ago when that commercial aired, and it wasn't quite as quirky as the Japanese commercials I would have loved to have seen.
I'm sure.
Carrie, talk to me about, like, as a woman, do you feel that, you know,
No.
no, not at all, no. Do you think
Don't
this really
talk to us as a woman, all right?
Carrie, talk to me as a man,
Stop
if you
being
would.
sexist there and
Talk
pointing
to
out
me
that
as
she's
a
a
man.
girl.
I mean, do you feel this furthers stereotypes,
No,
negative stereotypes about women?
I don't think it does at all.
Okay.
First of all, I don't mind playing.
This did. I thought this.
This
I don't
was-
know that
this was
video that
terrible.
they're
This was
showing right
offensive to
now,
me.
That
This was a little bit
doesn't even
offensive.
bother
That
me
her
at
only
all.
powers are her mood swings.
It's a terrible
I
PMS
think
joke.
That's her
It's
word
awful.
saying mood swings. I think it's better to say
at
emotional.
'em.
We as women are a little more emotional than men, and that's fine.
Here's
Sure.
my thing with this. This was the only point in her entire video where it's like, wow, I honestly never would have thought of that or noticed that. So there's the
But it
mixed
was that.
But
I
there's
mean,
a
you
mixed
could admit
perspective.
that that's what it was.
But here's a mixed perspective on it. If I hadn't watched this video, I can honestly say I never would have thought of it that way. I never would have thought of it as a PMS joke. And I think it depends on the mindset that you go on into a game with. And she's specifically going in with this mindset, and therefore everything
I think-
becomes that. I'm not saying that this particular example is pretty glaring.
Totally.
But
She's
think
got a frame of
But I think
reference.
she is constantly going into all of these games with that mindset. And what were you gonna say,
I just
Kaori?
think she's stretching everything. Like all of her examples. I'm
this
like,
example, the
really?
balloon
Is this
kid,
really a problem?
the balloon kid reference, and then the dark lineage reference. These were a little bit hard for me to connect with because these were games where you were playing as a female character and the male was the one that was trapped, and it was harder for me to relate to what she was saying because, like, when I was playing Balloon Kid, which is a platformer, like, I didn't sit there going like, oh man, this is like a trope being trotted out before me. I thought that it was like basically going against the grain of the trope that she would be
Yeah, but I don't think
reverse
reverse damseling isn't necessarily the answer, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's not the
here's
answer, but it's not a problem either. It's weird that this is the one that she followed up with. She should have done this as the second video and followed up with the content from her first video, which was the most damning if you were talking about like what was wrong with the video.
I
game
want to see
industry.
Alyssa White on this chat point out that she's an advocate for female equality in gaming. She is the one, if I'm correct, that
100
wants female advocacy. Yes. George Clooney saying, "Oh, that stupid woman. Who cares? People like her just want to stir the pot about women in general." So
He also
She
said
must have been like
he won
really
an
hurt by a
Oscar.
dude or something.
well, yeah, he's pretending to be George Clooney.
What if he is George Clooney?
I think he is. I mean, I think he is. George is watching.
Here's I agree with what. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's important that this conversation's happening. Whether she's stretching and has a personal frame of reference around this, okay. But I think it is time that we start having conversations around,
That was a
equality.
mess up, by the way.
What's that?
There's just an editing mess up.
Oh, all right.
Look, I agree with you though. I think that that this discussion is fine that it's happening. I just don't think she's the right representative. I think she's a negative personality. I think she brings a lot of negative light to the issue.
Yeah.
I just don't think she's the right person to be doing
If we
it.
had to elect people to go and represent us at a consortium of intelligent people who bring up good points, I would say she deserves to be on the panel.
I don't think
But
she does.
that
I think
needs
she's
to be on
very-
that panel with a lot of other people.
But here's the problem: is that
who
she's so
offer other opinions.
She's
as well.
so extreme, and especially in what you were saying, Grant. This video is hard for me to watch in the
Phil
sake
Fish
of.
is extreme.
She is
She
extreme.
is extreme.
She's
I-
very she's very extreme.
She's obtused. But here's what
Yeah,
I'll say. Like,
that's the best. I mean, extreme. You can't combine those two words, and I think that word is a little bit more indicative.
She's
of her
obtusely
character.
focused on this
Yeah.
topic. I think it's interesting that we're exploring it. And the other thing is, it was interesting for me. This was fascinating to watch. Did I agree with most of it? No, but because for me, the whole Damsel thing is always compelling, and it's because if my significant other or my kids or somebody that mattered to me was kidnapped, it's always kind of a compelling story.
But again, I think that's the biological nature.
I just wanna know-
100%
human beings.
human being to help
Like-
people in need, right? I totally agree.
If she goes on a date, does she make a man pay or does she say no? Let's split it. Like,
Or
That's
no,
a
she
difficult-
pays. She says I'm paying because that's
that's what I'm saying.
I think that's what
what
she does.
is she trying to prove right here?
Here's my thing though. What I want to bring up with is what Grant was talking about, touching on with this, which is that she's basically, and this is what bothered me about this video is, I mean, again, she can argue about what she wants, which is fine. Sure. But as Grant was mentioning, she's bringing up all these games which were trying to be positive focuses and reverse the thing, and instead she's slamming them, and she's basically talking against all of them. She's like, well, this was fine, but it's not good enough. You guys didn't do a good job.
Right here.
And this example right here about Spelunky, I think it was a great
horrible.
onging-cheek joke.
Totally.
I thought it was totally tongue-in-cheek, and instead she's talking about it's this terrible example.
And that
made
you
it
can
horrible.
replace the female character with a dog was just reprehensible.
But-
it was just terrible.
But then they also have the Chippendales guy as
Totally,
well.
I would agree. It's very tongue in cheek.
It's very tongue-in-cheek.
It's the weakest. Like at this point, the argument she's making in the third video is very, very flimsy. And I'm not saying that it didn't have a place among her 3 video series. It just probably would have been better served as like the arc at the middle, so that she could follow up with something stronger, which was her first video. I was really kind of perturbed that it took that long for a game to get a female protagonist on Nintendo 64.
I just
for
wonder if she
example.
plays games because every single game must drive her insane.
I think she has people. I think she does a lot of the research for this. I mean, she has played a lot of games.
She needs to
probably-
enjoy it.
And but this problem, I mean, strong female protagonists, I mean, don't exist anywhere. I mean, look at, even in Disney, for example. I mean, Disney's Snow White, she's an idiot. She's just attractive and gets kidnapped.
No, there's some strong female
Right, but
protagonists.
there are, and they're not as much. So I mean, I understand that this is a problem that's across a lot of different genres. Is my point.
Well,
it's not
again, though, I think
exclusive to gaming.
Again, though, I think it's that specific biological point
Yeah,
of
it's a-
human
that's
beings
her
where
thing.
I don't want to see her
look,
take on
no, here's-
Mass Effect with you being
Yeah.
able to do 2 different, and then the game responding to your gender based on what you pick.
Now, here's my thing with this. Is like I'm all about equality. And I think that yes, you
Sure.
can be whoever you want, and that's why everything exists. But I think that the mass appeal is going to go towards a male protagonist rescuing a princess or a damsel in distress because of the sake biologically. Women get pregnant and then they can't really go out there and do things, so their male has to be the protector of their kid and protect their family.
Reword that, because that's women who are pregnant can do a lot, but they probably shouldn't
Once
be in
you get
harm's
to
way.
a point, though, once you get to a certain point, you can't do very.
Well, there's plenty of people that I've known that have worked up until the day that they delivered.
But my point is, like, it's the male who wants to protect where their baby is.
I kind of agree with Dave because you think about it. If I'm dating a man, I don't want to be the one constantly saving him.
When you weren't here, and it was
When
Rachel
you
here.
weren't
It
here.
was like 1, 2, 3 people all saying the exact same thing, and here I'm going like, yeah, I'll
But you-
let
but-
women-
but
here's my thing, at the
I'll let
same
women
point-
do
but at the
as they
same-
will, and if they want to rescue someone, if they want to be the like the defender, I mean, let them be the defender. I'm not going to get in the way. There's too many strong people in the world, women and men. That
But at
could
the same
get in my
point, though, I'm not
way.
saying that women can't do that at all, and that's why there's games that exist for that. I'm just saying that I think the mass appeal is that way. And I work at E Entertainment, where I mean, never mind, that's for a different thing. But I mean, like for the next different discussion, that's a different discussion. But I mean, the point is that just like I think in general, the mass appeal will go that way. But that's why there are other games that exist for people who want to have the female protagonist who's strong that she's now detracting against in this video.
Yeah, but we can agree though from a design perspective, it's just lazy. I mean, as a narrative device, it's still compelling, but it's kind of. I mean, it's.
I like this
it's
part of the
lazy.
video where it
Are you
was
talking
like
about this video
it's so much of a
itself?
trope. Like this part of the video is she's talking about like how if you go too far in the opposite direction, it can be too much. It can be like seen as like sarcastic as opposed to genuine, which I actually enjoyed most of the games that she talked about at this part of the video.
Actually, this part of the video I enjoyed because it showed a lot of indie games I haven't played that I'm like, oh, that game looks cool. Maybe I'll have to
You
check
gotta
that one
play,
out.
like, everything on that list. Go ahead.
There-
Play it all.
Yeah, there's a bunch I haven't. I'm like, wow, that looks cool. But I mean, to me, it's just what I was saying, where I think that she's like the Super Meat Boy thing. For example, she's talking about how much of a problem Super Meat Boy was. Where to me, it's like, and these games that were playing homage to old games, and they're just doing it as an homage, and she's talking about this super negative thing and reinforcing the stereotype of damsels in stress. It's like, I just don't see it that way. To me, I see it as clearly what it's supposed to be. It is an homage to old games, especially Super Meat Boy,
Yeah.
where they're clearly cutting and ripping out scenes from old games just for the sake of doing that.
Right.
I think it's worth it to point out that she makes a lot of good points in her
100%.
videos, but she is chasing a stand-up at certain points.
It's like
She's chasing something that isn't as egregious. She's chasing a ghost, which isn't as harmful as she actually points out at certain points in the video.
It's like a bad documentary to me. It's like a documentary that has an agenda. You know those ones that they go in and they're clearly a hit piece where they're they're posing as a documentary.
Yeah, she's the whatchamacallit, the guy.
Roger Moore.
No, is that fact?
Michael Moore.
Yeah,
Michael Moore, thank you, sir.
Moore. She's the Michael Moore of video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, the
Yeah,
thing is,
she is. It's a Fahrenheit 9/11 of video gaming documentaries.
I would actually pay to see her do that. I would
Yeah.
pay to see her go out on the street and sabotage people.
See,
I really would.
Here's the thing: I don't disagree. I think she makes a lot. She does make some good points, but this is where I think she's the wrong.
Mario as the protagonist? Well, did you know that Princess Peach wasn't able to become the protagonist until 9 games later? How do you feel
Why
about
does
that?
it
Does your child go to a... I would pay to see
yeah,
that.
I'd
I'm so
kickstart that
This is
too.
also a really stupid example, this fat princess thing.
Right.
I mean,
right.
just think about it. It's kind of fun to have a fat princess.
Totally.
A fat prince.
I find that humorous, honestly. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
a terrible person for it, but I find it
I
humorous.
thought it was
yeah.
funny too.
I think
That was excellent.
I don't think there's any debate. You are a terrible person.
Nah, that's why I'm Dave the douchebag, right?
Let's go to the chat. Is Dave a terrible person?
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
Dave,
Holy
Unfollow.
Let's not crash the chat here. I know. The one thing I will agree with Anita on is, in my mind, like these tropes that she's talking about, and when she's making the point of them, and seeing so many of them, I agree with her in the fact that holy crap, these are everywhere, and just like the writer in me, the guy that wants to make like great
Unique
narrative
stories,
or new
yeah.
narrative, I want to see
Yeah.
new stories, I want to see
Amen, brother.
these new concepts, and I think that the gaming industry, be above and beyond TV, above and beyond movies or novels,
Books,
like
yeah.
we can go above and beyond this. We have the capabilities. We
And
can
that
be
says a
bigger,
lot about
stronger,
what Dave was
faster.
saying. He hasn't like played. You look at some of these games that she lined up as like the games that are good examples and bad examples at the same time, and you haven't played all of them, and you want to play all of those indie games. Like John puts up a good point, because a lot of those games still suffer from those same bad writing pitfalls that like she points out
Okay,
in some
well,
of the best examples.
one of the games she points out is Braid, which is actually a really good example
Braid
of
is a harder
reversing.
one for me me to agree with her on. In fact, I don't agree with her.
Right, like I mean, that's another thing. Like, how the hell could you argue against Bray when every other feminist website was cherishing Bray as like
absolutely.
the example of finally doing it right? And she's like, well, it didn't quite do it right. No, Bray did do it right. Come on, that's what bothers me about her. It's not what she's saying. It's more of the way that she comes across and the way that she says it.
Her delivery, it's horrible, and she's not likable.
But right, it's more that she's just not likable.
Ollie, you should have seen the look on your face. Holy crap! That like, if only we could replay that. That was classic.
So look, I'm just not a fan of her. But my conspiracy theory is the whole reason that she was doing all of this is specifically so she can get that game made that she talks about at the end of her video.
Yeah.
That's all it was just a pitch for her game to get made. Who thinks we're gonna see a Kickstarter of that game popping up sometime
You're saying
soon?
it sarcastically, but I actually
might.
think that might be the
I
next
think
thing
so,
she
too.
I'm not saying it sarcastically. I really think that we're gonna see a Kickstarter of that game popping up.
I think
We will talk about it.
she's on spot to do that next, I would imagine.
It's actually brilliant when you think about it. That's how you can become a game developer.
Do it ahead of her, and then you'll be able to get the money.
Just beat it a bunch.
Yeah, just beat
like
her
it.
to it.
Guys, we're shooting a Kickstarter video right after this.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, because we'll just make it ourselves and get all the money off of her idea. Like, hey. All right, but more on sexuality. Let's go ahead and talk about Dragon's Crown, which just all the reviews have been coming out for it. A lot of negative reviews specifically because of the artwork as opposed to the gameplay. Which
I think the art is one of the strongest portions of the game.
the artwork, by the way, George Kamitani, and it is a strong portion. I think his previous games that Vanillaware worked on, which would be Odin Sphere and Muramasa, part of the appeal, at least I have Muramasa specifically, is like, wow, this artwork is gorgeous. I really want to get Muramasa for that.
Gorgeous, unique, beautiful, well designed and detailed are like the words that I would throw out about that game. But most of the detractions that people have been putting out against Dragon's Crown, which is that the artwork is relatively childish, it has like an immature sense of perspective, proportion, and sexuality. I could also agree with that. I mean, you can have both those in the same, the same car or the same description.
So he makes a good point when he's defending the artwork, right? He says, look, everything was just hyperbolized and exaggerated, both the male characters and the female characters, which is totally
Tiny
true.
heads, humongous shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, the guys are just crazy ripped and shredded. The girls are way over sexualized, and that's fine from a protagonist perspective. Where I think this game gets a little ugly would be the NPCs, right?
Yeah.
Every woman portrayed that isn't a protagonist is just vapid and over sexualized, and just, I mean, I don't know if you just saw some of the menus, but I mean, just legs spread wide open. I mean, I thought it was kind of gross.
Yeah, they look like Baroque paintings of women wearing nothing more than like a...
Women in a lot of video games are over sexualized.
Yeah.
Look, I mean,
that's what we do.
So Alyssa White's saying,
you say it as it's just like, yeah, rape and pillaging happens. So
Alyssa White on the chat saying, I thought the artwork for Dragon's Crown was gorgeous. So that's another woman's
I
perspective.
agree.
And that's kind of, I agree with you, Patrick, that I think as far as the protagonists go.
Yep.
I mean, my thing with this is that a lot of people are angry that the girls are over sexualized, but you look at the guys and they're so over masculinized that it's to that extreme as well, where people don't talk about body image issues for guys, where that could be a body image issue for a guy. But to me, this is a super exaggerated cartoon. You look at the guy's shoulders and their V's, and it's freaking tree trunks.
I think this goes so
it is
far in the opposite.
insanely so far
it
that
does.
I think that it's okay to me too for the girls, because that's just the art style of everything in that game is overly insane. Now, the NPCs, I haven't played the game yet, so I don't know if the specific examples we've been getting, because every review I've seen has shown that one specific screenshot. So it might be just that one NPC, I don't know.
Yep.
And it might be the case that all the guys, too, are also over crazy NPCs, and we're only seeing the reviews point out the female ones. Because every review that at least I linked you guys to that I saw, they were only showing the artwork of the females. They weren't showing the over-exaggerated artwork of the guys.
That's very true.
Which is there. They just were choosing not to show it. So, I mean, it's hard for me to say that without playing the game. And I don't know, my favorite online personality, EMB. I love you, epic name, bro. Man crush. I literally had him in a dream last week, and I was like, okay, this is too far. This is weird. But he
bit of an overshare.
He played the game, and he thought it was, like, he didn't think it was a big deal because of that same reason. He did a whole giant review of it, so... I'm like, EMB, I trust you.
Okay.
But like, I mean, the thing is that we're just not seeing in any pictures. They're not showing us the male version of it,
Right?
Which is there, which is present, and it's just, I think it's again that thing with Anita where it's just like picking to choose, like, this is how I'm going to see the game,
Right.
as opposed to really seeing the whole picture.
No, Kaori, in no way you were offended by any of
No, I
the way they
wasn't-
portrayed women
I
in
wasn't
this.
offended at all, and like this is a Japanese developer, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the thing is, like in Japan, you know, they keep this sexuality inside and they expose it during like when they create video games or comic books and things like that.
Yeah,
So this
it's
is completely normal in
Sure.
Japan. In Japan, they would not have a right about
It's
this
even
at
more
all.
normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's far worse in Japan.
So-
Tentacle rape anybody? So Joseph Bose is saying, I've seen photos of the game and seen YouTube videos of it. It's the most nice artwork ever. And the
Most
artwork
nice
is
artwork
beautiful.
ever.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird way to say that.
Are you
No, it is.
prepared to double down on that, Joseph?
He took a chance, right? I mean, ultimately, he had to find a style, so he just went to the extreme on both ends.
Yeah,
of it.
as he said in the interview that you
Absolutely.
mentioned.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I agreed with a lot of what he said.
Yeah, I do too. And I like he said, and like you were saying, it's just, as he said, it's just everything is blown out of proportion. Everything, the monsters, the men, the women, of course, are part of that. And to me, it'd be almost
muscle.
more. It's almost in a sense, it'd be kind of offensive if the guys and the monsters were, and the girls weren't.
Sure.
Then we'd be
Yeah,
having the
that's
exact
a
same
good
discussion, but
point.
in the
Sexualize
reverse.
those monsters.
That's a really good point.
And also, honestly, what if girls with big breasts?
200 breasts and
But here's the thing too. Why? What do girls?
lime green skin and
But what I have to wonder too is what do girls with big breasts think when there's a big breasted female in the game? Everyone's like, oh, that's so sexualized that a girl has
I
big
think what
breasts.
they're thinking
Ask
is,
like a
holy crap,
larger-
she would never be able to do that without her back giving out.
And to be fair, she didn't have like major tatas. She had major butt, and it's muscle.
Yeah, and
It's like
she's like
angular.
tree trunk muscle for her butt.
No, her breasts
She
were
has
bigger
bigger
than her
boobs.
head.
She has
Like, I
major
mean,
boobs,
they were-
too.
It was like a pear shape. Let's put it that way.
And then the guys, like I was thinking, like if I had to, if that was my character, like would I be? This is the thought that I had. If the guy characters were the characters that I was playing, or if I was like embodying. My head is so small that I can't imagine it containing a brain, and that's what that's my thought. I mean, it's like the shoulders are so out there that like I can't look to the left and the right, and I'm used to making fun of World of Warcraft armor because
Yeah.
the shoulders are so crazy, and like people rightfully do make fun of that kind of stuff, and I think that you can make fun of both the guys and the girls in that
Right.
case.
Yeah.
Which is fine. XX Webslinger agreeing with you, saying he's angry about it. I'm angry about that, and I won't play because I'm not ripped where I can reach around to wipe my behind. So angry. Once
Yeah,
again,
that
if
guy
people
couldn't
have a
wipe
problem
his
with the game and how
behind.
sexuality is
Muscle-bound.
portrayed, don't have them play it, then you have a choice.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case. And I mean,
And that might actually be a problem because with the bad reviews and like the reviews coming out so quickly, fewer people might actually download.
well, some reviews were very positive and chose not to focus on it, but it was more of annoying to me where like, okay, if you're saying the game's repetitive, that is a big issue, and that should be the case that you should be
know,
harping on, not the artwork.
To be fair, it's really hard to make a guy look over sexualized. Like
But they
women,
managed
it's
to
so easy,
do it
you know,
every
because
once in a
we
while.
are.
Have you
beautiful
not seen
creatures.
John Quick?
I know,
It's
seriously, John
ridiculous.
Quick
I know, I'm
is
like-
the
I walk in, I'm
over-sexualized person.
intimidated every time I see the man.
If you guys haven't
mean-
played Muscle March, go and play Muscle
Oh my God, Muscle March is hilarious.
Muscle
I got
March
that game.
after
It's
this,
hilarious,
after
not
this game,
sexy.
it's fun.
Right, yeah.
You go to a Chippendale, women don't. We laugh at it, and women go.
But yeah, I think that's just a different
It's just
mindset where men are very visual creatures
Sure.
too. But I mean, Nathan Drake's kind of that would be a sexy
As
guy
opposed
say
to
for girls.
women who are
well,
not visual
Okay, maybe not for
creatures.
Kaori.
All right, this is going to be an awkward question. So we obviously know what would be considered an over-the-top male sex fantasy. We already kind of see that. Kaori, can you clue us into what would be like the design that would be like the
That's the
female
thing. Like,
sex
if
fantasy?
you see like a huge schlong out of nowhere, it wouldn't be sexy. It'd be
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's just it.
But
Like, so
that's why
what would it be? What I'm
That's my
honestly
point,
asking.
Like, it's so easy for a woman to look over sexualized just by having big tits or big ass, but for a man to look over sexualized in a video game, that's
You have to
Well,
go
I mean, it's
beyond.
hard.
You have to go beyond what's displayable in public.
Well,
I
no,
think
there
that's
are
why.
examples of that. There's specific animes and shows and games where the guys are supposed to be super cute or hot. Excuse me. You know, it's on
Oran High School,
pancakes are
like
just
Oran
right
High School
there.
Host Club. Well, how about that? Oran High School Host Club.
Or in
That's
High
good.
School Host Club would be an example. But I mean, there are
That's
things like
painful
that.
to watch.
But no, for you, because you're a guy. But I mean, there are examples where they do
I
that.
don't-
And here's the example I want.
Are there
But
Japanese
here's-
girls out there that watch High School Host Club and go like, "Oh my god"?
There are. There's
Yes.
fan art of them. But here's the thing with the and guys is you can make them look sexualized by it is stuff by making them look ripped. It's not the male sexual body part, the penis, that looks sexy.
Right.
It's by having them look strong, have certain masculine qualities or features. But that's what's sexy. But the thing is that, I mean, I can tell you, like, this is the example I want to bring up. I work at Entertainment. There's so many girls who work there, and they focus just as much on looks as guys do.
No, we
who
do,
work there.
but I mean, you're not going to see an article talking about, oh my God, look at those guys' muscles. How controversial is that? And you're not going to see that.
You see that article and it's not controversial.
Right.
Ryan Lochte got a show because he's good looking.
Sure.
That is why he got a show.
Yeah, but he's not over sexualized. You know what I mean? Like,
I would say at the end of the day, like, you know, you don't see articles about the cellulite on Ryan Gosling's thighs, but holy crap, would you see it about Scarlett Johansson?
But it's also not guys who write those articles. It's always girls who write those articles. By the way.
Yeah. All right, but I guess like going back to that whole question of, okay, so we know what guys consider like a pretty looking guy. We think like big, muscly, ripped. We think that's kind of the ideal. That's
not what I think of as being the ideal. I'm just saying that would be the example.
Yeah, that would be the example, but I think that's an example from a male perspective. I'm honestly trying to see if Kaori can give us what is the female perspective of like what would be just a guy that as soon as you look at him, your knees kind of go weak and you're just like, I must have that. Is there a thing like that?
Quick.
Yeah.
Is it
John
Nathan
Quick,
Drake?
as
Right,
Patrick said.
Guys, let her answer. I am seriously curious about
John,
this.
everyone's different. Like, what looks sexy to me from a girl is gonna not be what looks sexy to you.
in seconds, it would obviously be like looks, like height and face, right? But second comes humor and money.
Very honestly
Can
said,
you
I can
assess
appreciate
those?
that.
But yeah, can you assess those by looking at him? Like, can you like
No,
obviously?
Honestly, it's really just about the connection. You can,
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
see the connection from like miles away in a room.
But then it's
You
like
can.
it's individualized. It's not
Yes.
something that you can paint a picture of. Then.
No, you
But
can't.
I mean, it's the same thing with girls, though, too. Like, what I find attractive is not going to be exactly what you find attractive. Is not going to be exactly what
100%,
Patrick finds
right.
attractive. It's very
But we
different
could
per
admit
person.
that guys are a fair bit like on the surface they're shallow as hell.
There's a more
are.
there's a more uniform standard as to what guys find attractive necessarily than what women.
Like if I said you can't paint a picture that you can have an emotional connection to of a guy, and given that case, I think I could paint a picture of a girl that Dave could have a connection to in an instant.
Okay, but but I mean, there's a uniform thing, but there's also a uniform thing for what girls find attractive, which is
what I was trying to find out what the hell that is.
no,
'cause
it's what
She just told you.
Look,
It's more of like a.
But no, I'm not talking
intellectual,
about
like a
physically
connection
attractive.
thing
Right.
as well.
Usually for girls, it's intellectual. It's the money thing. It's being able to support a family. Like that's just
Support.
again the
Support is
biological.
big.
Right, but again, that's the biological thing of human beings, and of going way back to what I was talking about before.
Sure.
Where yes, things have advanced in this day and age, but your deep down roots are still going to be that base bare bones of who we are as humans.
Sure.
And I like to think we've advanced, but there's still that lingering there. And that's why every girl still has certain things that they look at and find generally attractive about guys, and every guy still finds things they look at in girls and find generally attractive.
But we're on the
so
same page. Back to the back to the game. We're on the same page that this really isn't that offensive, right? None of us in this
I
room.
know. Offended by it.
I wasn't offended that much about it, but I do. I mean, like, if people want to take off points for it on a review site or in a review, I'd say more power to them. Take off a couple points, give them a little bit of a lower score.
I mean, the visual design of the game is a huge factor sometimes.
And there wasn't anything in the game that completely overpowered that. There wasn't a saving grace with Dragon's Crown.
Have you
that made
played it?
So, yes, I have.
Okay.
There wasn't a saving
I
grace
wanna play
yet.
it.
I haven't finished it, but I played it at E3. I played it now on the Vita.
But here's the thing, though. Outside of the over sexualization of the artwork, I actually find the artwork to be really gorgeous.
I thought it was cool too.
But so that's what bothers me about someone taking off a couple points of the overall score of the game, because that's not the gameplay of it. If the art's actually beautiful, other than you're offended by the fact that the girls have big boobs.
But you played it, Grant. You played it.
Yeah.
So riddle me this: Are all of all the NPCs that are women disempowered? I mean, that's where this gets dangerous, right? Just outside of the sexual, these empowered, beautiful women and men is great.
Any NPC that you encounter, other than the main heroes, is disempowered. So
That's exceptionally true.
The problem doesn't lie. I mean, the problem does lie in the fact and how they're depicted. But anybody you encounter in the game is going to be less powerful than the people that you're playing as.
Okay.
So it is a problem.
You didn't feel any sense of misogyny in the game.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Did you?
That's a problem.
A little bit.
From what?
From the characters, from the like even. I mean, like it's it's difficult. The sorceress is not a counterpart to the Amazonian. Like the Amazonian is like skimpily dressed.
Yeah, but the guys,
the sorceress.
the guys also don't wear shirts.
Yeah, I know.
So I mean, it's the arts in general. So how can you say it sucks that the girls aren't wearing veg clothing when the guys aren't wearing much clothing?
I didn't say it sucks. I just said it. Like if he asked me if it does have a misogynistic tone, like there's something there. It's like 10%, 20%, but it's still there.
To me, if every guy was like full bodysuit armor, and then the girls look like that, that would be a problem. But if all the guys are shirtless,
think that the guys being shirtless and the guys' armor even was a saving point, that it was realistic. I think that it was.
Well,
also
it's not realistic,
yeah.
but to me that makes it not feel like misogyny, I guess. But that's just. I mean, I haven't played it. I haven't played it.
I kind of agree with you, just because like Japan is kind of misogynistic country.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a little hint of that. So, but it's not offensive. I know that sounds weird, but it's not offensive.
And it's it's art, so I say art it out.
Art it out. I want that as a T-shirt. Art it out. Okay.
All right. You're right. I mean, Japan is very much misogynistic in a lot of what they do. So, all right. With that said, you can chime in who you agree with and who you don't. Let's move past the controversial stuff.
47 minutes of controversy.
Let's get to happier stuff, the gaming moments of the week.
All right.
Yeah.
I promise there's no controversy in my gaming moment of the week.
Oh, okay. Then what's your gaming moment of the week?
No sexism. No. You should get my gaming moment of the week.
What's your
gaming moment of the week is, since QuakeCon is on right now, and John Carmack is on stage talking about wildly technological things that you will never fully understand as well as he does. Steam and Bethesda have gotten together to offer the Bethesda and ID catalogs and a lot of other titles 40 to 75% off on Steam. So if you enjoy games like Skyrim, Quake, Doom, get yourself on over to Steam and enjoy my gaming moment of the week, which is a lot of games, deep discounts. Go get them. My gaming moment of the week. Ta-da!
That's a pretty good.
That was like
pretty
a
good.
commercial.
Hey,
I know, right? That's a good read.
Hey, always good for discounts, right? No, I'm serious. Like discount, I love finding out about them. So I'm serious.
The Skyrim games aren't as deeply discounted as they were during the Steam sale. So if like you want to pick up like the the complete edition, you're not going to be able to get it for as deep a discount now on the sale for the QuakeCon. But still, if you wanted to pick up a Quake for $5 or whatever, or like an anthology of some of their games, go to Steam.
XX Webslinger pointing out that it's $89 for the whole Bethesda library.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Good deal.
If I didn't own half of it already,
right? I already own all of it. All right, Patrick, what is your moment?
So I spoke last week a little bit about Gunslinger and escaping games. So I'm really close to the end of Last of Us, and they actually, and just speaking about empowered female protagonists, I got to the point where I was very pleasantly surprised that Ellie did not need saving. She took care of herself. But I've been diving deep down the Doctor Who rabbit hole. Look, in this world, there are two types of people, right? There are people that have seen Doctor Who and are fanatical about it. Can I get an amen, John?
Amen.
Amen. And then there's people that haven't seen it. And so
there's no in between.
There's no in between. You've seen it and you love it, or you haven't seen it. And so I started back when they rebooted the series a couple years ago, 2006, I believe, John?
2005.
2005. And so I've watched.
Oh, so close.
And,
I'm sorry. You will not be taking home the bedroom set.
I am really, really surprised about how well done this show is. There's clearly filler episodes, but I would assert that if you're a Game Control Live viewer, it's probably right up your alley. It is unbelievable television. There are a few filler episodes that are just fun, but there's ones that really emotionally resonate with you, and I've been really pleasantly surprised. I did not think in any way that I'd fall this much in love with it. And I'm currently in the Tenet season, and it's awesome.
Scaly Aragon screaming out, "Oh my God!"
So good.
Fangirling so bad.
So good. Exactly. If you've seen you've seen it and you love it, or you haven't seen it, and so this has been my escape. I need to take a breath from Last of Us and just do something that's not games.
Don't watch Torchwood before watching Doctor Who. Go ahead and watch some Doctor Who first. Get yourself like fully immersed in that universe before you start going off on some of the other BBC's branching paths, because they really do confuse the hell out of what is Doctor Who.
So they started with Eccleston, and this is Tennant, the second Doctor since the reboot. I'm in love with both of them a little bit.
Doctor 10.
Doctor 10. So, John, are you a Tennant guy, an Eccleston guy, you a Smith guy?
Smith. As far as like the new series, I go with Smith.
Okay.
The old Doctors. I mean, Tom Baker is great. I will never knock the fourth Doctor, but so far going back, I really love the second Doctor and Sylvester McCoy the 7th.
It's hard to choose.
Man,
I
you're
love them all.
deep into that Doctor genealogy. I know very little before Eccleston, but this show's unbelievable.
I
mean, I
this is
can't
a show that there are lost episodes from the original run.
Right.
The second Doctor.
I
There's
mean,
a lot of them.
When you get a show that actually has like vault episodes that might have been destroyed, oh my god, or missing episodes that like might link storylines together, like it's an insane series.
It's extremely well written, and the chemistry between the doctors and the companions is unbelievable. So it's just quality television. So check it out.
Are you
So it's
are you with Martha Jones right now, or have you graduated on to Donna Noble?
I'm Martha Jones.
Martha,
the
okay.
doctor?
No, the companion.
No, right, but she's a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
I just saw that episode where they she just left with him.
Oh, okay.
The hospital episode.
All right.
Yep.
His father and your husband.
So
All right,
my
so-
non-gaming
and-
gaming moment of the week.
And tomorrow is the big day.
Yep.
Yeah, where's the game?
Yeah. Is that tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. 11 a.m. BBC America.
All right, so
I'm not even up yet.
back to a gaming moment that I do far too often. So you guys know what it's gonna
Oh
be.
guess,
crap!
let
I
me
thought we could
guess.
have 1 week without it. I thought
I was
I didn't know what your
trying-
gaming moment of the week was, but I was like,
My
do
gaming
we have
moment-
1 week without Dark Souls?
No.
My
And
gaming
we
moment.
hadn't even mentioned it up until now either.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, it wasn't going to be, but I
Right.
just couldn't think of anything else. I'm sorry.
I could come up with
Is
about
there
5
really
things right
anything
now.
else?
Right,
No.
that is the
Is
question.
there anything else
Can
in
we
my life?
preempt it right now? Can we come up with something else?
No.
Hell no,
okay.
no, we're not going to. You want to know
Just
why?
let
It's
Dave
already
have
playing.
it.
Okay, take it away.
All right. John, just skip ahead like to 30 seconds in this. So someone made a mod of
Yeah,
Dark
there's 30
Souls.
seconds of exposition that's just ridiculously
Someone played a mod of
unnecessary.
Dark Souls. Skip ahead. Skip ahead so people can watch. It's basically they made a first-person mod of Dark Souls. No, it's not the greatest thing ever because they were just kind of figuring it out. But I just think it's fun, different perspective. It's cool.
That's pretty
And
cool.
You know what? I mean, I know.
Kaori's like looking across the table at
Like,
me, going like, Grant,
What
just looked
save
at-
get on
us?
it.
I'm looking at
Start
Dark
modding
Souls and thinking about
Skyrim.
how hard it is to play.
No, it's not that bad once you get
It's
used to the
so-
mechanics.
I'm joining her on this
it's so
like
hard.
detraction of the
Dave has
Souls.
videos. He's out helping people.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Watch
help
Dave
you
Control
guys.
live.
true.
Yeah. You know what I saw this week was have you seen the Thanks Obama mod?
Yeah, that was great.
Every time you die, it says Thanks
And
Obama.
yes, Gag, please
What's that
make a
thing?
Skyrim mod.
Yeah, I know. What's this thing that's flying in the upper left-hand corner of the screen every other time he hits swings? Is that the axe or the arrows in the back?
I think it's just a mess up of the mod. That would be
Yeah.
my guess.
Well, it's still pretty. It's pretty
But-
together.
The disembodied hand is just
Yeah.
floating out
The
there.
hand is like flying around in front of you with the shield. Ah, it's running away.
Yeah, and Joseph was saying people thought Kaori's moment was always too predictable. I swear, guys, I will.
I hadn't been keeping track yet. Is this the fifth
I don't know. It's been too
time?
many. I swear, guys, like I really will do something else. Like I had a moment in King's Field this week where I was doing a Let's Play on it, where I've got this super rare sword, but I had such a frustrating time of playing 2 hours
Boner
to get
fire.
it
Oh, bonfire.
that it ended up not being a moment of the week.
Fire. Sorry.
So, anyways, I just thought this was cool. I will have something different next week.
I don't apologize. It's what you're playing,
No,
right? And you
no,
love this. You're obviously really passionate
Look,
about
here's
it.
the thing: is that I've been so busy lately that it's, like sometimes I'm just like cycling through news stories, so it's hard for me to find like a cool one sometimes. So if I'm not busy, like super busy, I just kind of go back to my like, all right, well, there's always something cool going on in Dark Souls
right,
today that I
right,
just
yep.
notice. But if I'm not busy, I usually find
like your
something that's
binky.
great. Yeah,
It's like your binky.
it's like I just go back to it. You
Comfort
know?
food,
It's-
you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
I
my
like
comfort
it.
food.
I like it.
All right. Yeah, it's so Webslinger saying Dark Souls has a high learning curve, but once you get it, it's fun to play. I think it's just you have to get past
Once
that
you get
learning
past
curve.
it, you turn into Dave. So
You turn into Dave.
once you
Exactly.
get
a character you roll.
I'm like,
Look,
You
it's-
should be in Dark Souls
I
2.
want to be able to
It's
do
like
this.
Doctor Who. It's like once you get past that learning curve, everybody loves it. You just have to get past that
It's
learning
true
curve.
story. I like it.
All right, Kaori, what is your non-Dark Souls gaming moment of
Okay,
the week?
I am trying to be unpredictable, so I'm not going to say Phenom Edition for WWE 2K14. Instead, I am going to say Duck Hunt Nails. Owen Harper, one of our fans, showed.
Is this her nail? These
Wow.
her nails?
It's a tutorial on how to make duck hunt nails by Katie from Geeks and Sundry.
I was like, this is not Owen
Can you
Harper.
put about 8 minute, 15 second is the finish? Well, she does a whole tutorial.
Seconds and
I was gonna
25
do it quick
frames.
because. But look how cool! I love nail art, and she just
Get
shows you
those
how
nails
to
in
do
your
that.
face.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I learned like a couple weeks ago that in Duck Hunt you can actually control the
Look
ducks
at
if you
those.
plug in the second controller.
What?
Did you know this?
Yeah.
It blew my
way.
mind.
Blew my mind too.
You're like, look at those nails.
I want those nails.
Yep.
Why didn't you
too.
do that after you got this tutorial to come in with them?
I got it this morning, and I'm they're ready.
They look great on you. I don't know if I could pull them off. You know?
I think you could pass
Yeah.
it.
Okay. All right.
Practice
Thank
on you.
Okay.
Huh?
Deal.
That is really cool though.
Yeah.
That's amazing nail art. That's got to take a long time to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different geeky nail arts out there on the
There's
internet.
like a Zelda one. There's all kinds.
There's
It's fun.
someone did like the first level of Mario across their hands. And stuff.
Shut up.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That's
pretty
awesome.
Crazy.
You guys should get into it.
Come on, send in your pictures.
Submit.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden, like every guy's like, I did nail art too.
Not anytime soon.
Speaking of sexuality,
I did the
Bring back.
Quality.
yeah. All right, so with that wraps up moments of the weekend. Let's get to a bunch of quick hit stories. This one
Sounds good.
This one I think will be really quick. Saints Row Australia update. They have. This is for Rachel, even
They're
though she's
on
not
and
here.
off again.
They're back on. They've switched. They made the change they need to make. No more anal probing.
No more. What is it? Drugs.
more
It's the drugs, right?
Yeah.
It was the drugs and the anal probing.
It was the drugs that like
Superpowered anal
that
probing.
well, drugs that empower you, right? Specifically, that was the clause, like
Empowering
yeah,
anal
that give you. Yeah. Wow.
So the
say that a few more times, Grant, please. Yeah, so drugs that show some positive benefit. Apparently, that's just
Right.
off limits in Australia.
So the positive benefit alien drugs and the anal probe
Yep.
are now
It's getting
out of the
mixed
Australian
up.
version.
Positive alien drugged anal probing.
And it's 15. It's now 15 plus rating. Interestingly, GTA, which I think is probably just as extreme and violent, got an 18 plus. So somehow Saints Row dropped down to a 15 plus by removing those elements.
See it, get an E for everyone.
Yeah, right. That's
The game's 3 minutes long and then it runs credits. Not happening.
It's you walking down the street to get a
Waving
sandwich.
to your neighbors.
It's the dubstep gun. You point it at a car and that's it. You can't point it at a person and anything else.
Was it available on like a downloadable content?
Yeah,
from Australia?
the alien probe will be as well, I believe, and also I think the drug one you can.
Is that the way? Is that their way around it? They
I
can rate the
think so.
DLC and then the game itself.
Because
can be
DLC is
rated by
always
it.
unrated, isn't
Yeah,
it? So
I think so.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's actually very ingenious.
Yeah, smart way.
And you can even do it as a free DLC for that matter on day one, because like there's a lot of games that have come out recently here in the United States. It's like, hey, you buy the retail version and you get some DLC
Right.
on day one. I mean, obviously some people hate it, but it might be an ingenious way of bypassing these, like, the caveat you can't put
Yeah.
that in the game.
So, new Ubisoft IP is going to be coming to Gamescom, being announced at Gamescom, which, Ubisoft, you love them or hate them, one of the cool things about them is that they actually always are good about releasing a lot of new IPs right when a new system comes out. That's one of the positive points, I think, in
Release
Ubisoft's
all
direction.
IPs.
Here's my problem with this. It's not a problem, but like I'm over I'm gonna make an announcement that I'm going to announce something.
Yeah.
I thought Ubisoft just dropped 2 bombs when they had not Last of Us.
I like
I'm
the
sorry.
trailer for the trailer.
The Crew.
Watch Dogs, and then
The Crew.
what's the new Tom Clancy one?
Division.
The Division.
The Division.
They dropped those like nobody saw those coming at all. They didn't announce that they were going to announce something. I don't know.
I think it's
I
a
know
pre-announcement because it's Gamescom,
It's
and
just-
not that many people pay attention to Gamescom.
Maybe that's that.
So it's like, pay attention to
Just
Gamescom.
hey, we're coming there.
We happen in Germany, please.
So
We're
dumb.
important.
And Microsoft's like, also, please pay attention to Gamescom.
Gamescom's a huge deal in Europe, right? Like here in North America, we don't pay that much attention to it, but like it's a massive show, right?
It is a massive
Hundreds
show.
of thousands of people.
But I don't think there's usually that many announcements during
That's fair.
Gamescom, so I don't think. I mean, there usually are announcements, but it's not like.
Some developers and publishers wait for conventions like Gamescom
And even
the
PAX,
Japanese-
sometimes you see
Yeah.
announcements.
Do you
being
guys
made.
have any predictions? Is this new IP or is this a sequel to something? You
They said
excited
it's a
about
new
anything?
IP. So I mean, I'm excited, but I have no idea.
Probably,
Nintendo's
probably
new
one of the
IP
things
is.
that Patrick
It's-
DeSilitz was working on at THQ Montreal.
It's a new Just
Oh,
Dance
could
type
be
of game.
Patrick DeSillies.
Yeah, Just Dance 4.
It's not gonna be a Just Dance, but it'll be a new dance sim game.
Wait a
Gross.
minute.
Carrie, your wheels were spinning there. Just
Dance
nothing.
Central Intelligence. I want to see the Russian
Nothing.
version of that. I want to see like the Dance KGB, and then like you get. Oh, that'd be so cool. I
just
don't know.
don't
Did
know
you
what to
guys play Dance Central? Was it?
I love
is
Dance
it
Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then
really like
Dance
it.
Central 3, I think, whatever, is like you
Yeah.
get to play. You're always part of the Dance Central Intelligence, right? Am I right?
I don't know if the Dance Central 1 you were, but I think they introduced that in Dance Central 2.
So then, like, your Dance
Maybe.
Central 2, you're part of the Dance Central Intelligence, and then Dance Central 4, you join the Russian KGB equivalent of Dance
It's
Central
like Metro
Intelligence,
Last
and-
Light, but with
yeah.
dancing.
Who cares? Who cares?
It's a fun game.
I just don't.
me cares.
I suddenly think of the game Elite Beat Agents only really dark and not as fun.
Oh, yeah.
XX Web
In
Slinger, I
Russia,
think,
dancing kills you.
I think XX Web Slinger actually has a spot on. XX Web Slinger says that he thinks the game is going to be just Square Dance. He says just
No.
No.
Don't will that into existence, Web Slinger.
All right,
Should be a
so
dating game.
finally, some positive news coming from playing games, what it can do to you. 10-year-old Griffin Sanders, apparently his 74-year-old grandmother, Darlene Nestor, was driving, passed out in the middle of it, and he took the wheel and saved their lives as they were going into oncoming traffic, and he said he learned his skills from Mario Kart.
Which I thought was amazing. My problem with this is,
Did he drift?
dude, where were you when I was 10 years old and I could point to some like, hey, video games give you
know.
actual skills in real life. This kid could have been a poster child for my excuse to play video games my
Yeah.
entire life.
Like, I swear I'm learning good skills.
Yeah, I could save your life, Mom and Dad. You pass out, I got this.
I think he just made a cute comment and it became like, oh my god, Mario Kart taught him how to do this.
No, clearly, but
Thank God he
it
didn't
would have
like,
been
get his driving skills from
cute.
like Gone in 60 Seconds or Fast and the Furious then.
Still, it's nicer than the like typical like, oh, someone was shot. It's obviously these are
blame the video
games.
game- yep.
Right.
You know what?
Yeah.
You learn a lot of SAT words playing a lot of RPGs.
Yeah, you do.
There you go. There you go.
RPGs are the reasons I learned how to read like so quickly and so well. Is because I
Yeah.
want to be able to play
Multiple choice
RPGs.
questions
Yeah, I
as
learned
well.
Japanese playing Japanese RPGs. So
Is that true?
So this
yeah,
It's fantastic.
Very cool. Sugoi. Let's go ahead and talk about Zynga again. So even more Zynga news. They keep on popping up with news. I'm tired of talking about them, but there's always something new. It was just announced that in July, it just came out that 3 of the major execs of Zynga left: John Oswald, Nathan Effer, who are both part of the games division, and then Jesse Janisov, who is part of the casino games division, which I think they're pretty much dropping for the most part.
Yeah, I think they killed off that division.
Yeah,
with,
so I mean that would make sense.
with Don Matrick being hired as
But
well.
yeah, but they so 3 execs leaving. It could have to do with the Don Matrick hiring, maybe
Yeah, they gotta
reorganizing
hire
the
more
structure.
people to pay his
Absolutely.
salary.
Right.
Like I said last week.
No, I mean that's
I
pretty
estimate there's
typical
gonna
when
be
you
like 2 or 3 more people fired in order to pay a salary.
No, that's pretty typical. When you introduce a new CEO, they restructure, and they carve out their own territory. And none of this actually surprises me.
So back on the topic real quick, what we were talking about before. Alyssa White's saying that she has depression, OCD, and anxiety, but gaming has helped her immensely mentally. It's the best therapy for her, and that's, I think, a better therapy than a lot of alternatives out there that you could choose.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe yoga's a good alternative, I guess, but I mean, like, as opposed to like drugs or something like that, it's definitely a better alternative.
So that's the official. This is official game control position is that we don't do drugs.
I mean,
I don't
Drugs
do
are
drugs.
bad.
I
Drugs are
mean,
bad.
on air, I don't right now.
I was just checking, John. You're naked and high right
are
now.
all
I'm
Mr.
positive.
I didn't know about that.
no,
God.
look,
Oh, damn. Oh, listen.
none of the hosts do drugs, but John has track marks. Let's put it that way.
For no reason whatsoever.
Just some
just
random
that-
track marks.
Yeah.
But
Damn, that was good.
back to Zynga, though, I think it was kind of funny that this news came out at the same time as they were suing or trying to get rid of this game that came out called Bang with Friends. Because they're infringing on the With Friends license that Zynga has of like Wars with Friends. I guess they have like a Chess with Friends. And I think that they're just
Litigation
angry.
with friends.
I think they're just angry they didn't come up with it themselves. Bang with Friends. I think they're just upset. They're like, if only we came up with Bang with Friends.
Sure.
yeah.
If only.
Something is going on with Zynga because I have an app on my phone where I instant message. It's called Kick, and out of nowhere there was an advertisement to play a new Zynga game. So I
So
think
they're trying to push.
They're
They're
advertising,
really
right?
advertising everywhere, even on an instant messenger application.
Well, they
It's so
lost.
random.
One of the things that we were talking about last week is they lost like such a significant amount of their monthly players as well as their daily players. We already knew that social games, media games in general, like after a day or two, they lose like 90% of their initial install base. But it's. I mean, if they're advertising, it shows that they fully understand that they lose their players over time and that they've lost half of their user base and they need to get some of that back.
What did they pay for OMG Pop? Like $200 million
Yeah, that
for
was
the words.
ridiculous.
A
And a year
Them
later,
and
the founders
Yahoo.
left. I mean,
Them
what
and
a-
Yahoo are
They're riding
paying
high.
exorbitant amounts of money to get these startups and to like, and it's weird. It's like we haven't really seen them or Yahoo be really successful with their purchases.
I want to make a game that's bought by them and then just leave so I can make more games with the money I got.
Go crib a game. This is a terrible it's like Scrabble crib, and and then they renamed it and then sold it. I mean,
Well, that's what Zynga
I'm
does.
crazy jealous of them.
I mean, George Clooney is saying Zynga makes garbage. That's coming from George Clooney's mouth.
yeah.
You mean George Clooney
Must
thinks
be
it?
true.
It's fun for a quick minute, but
Yeah.
the minute's long gone.
Yeah.
So
For a while, though, for me, life was what occurred between games of draw with, what is it, draw something?
Draw
Yeah.
Something.
no,
Yeah.
I mean I love Draw Something, but I mean all these are just games that are like sparks in the air. You know, it's there for a moment,
Right,
and then
right.
people get tired of
Yep.
it. And they bought OMG Pop after people were tired of it.
What's really interesting to me is they
$100 million.
haven't been able to do what Gameloft did, which is Gameloft was making those like quick throwaway games, you know, like those games that were mirroring games like Halo and
Right.
everything. And then they were like getting hired by some of these movie companies to make the companion games for movies on mobile platforms, and they started actually making good content that was worth buying, worth playing, and you know, like some
Because
of this
that's
stuff.
not Zynga's philosophy. Their philosophy is copy and paste.
Well, that's what
Right.
Don has said. Is like I think that's hidden in his
a good
message about how he
philosophy.
wants to grow Zynga. He said that there's places where we can change, there's places where we can grow, and the only interpretation that I can take from that is that he plans on making actual content as opposed to like making these throwaway games.
Yeah, totally.
Either way, he looks good. He turns the place around, or you know, and he's a hero, or he jumped on a sinking ship and it wasn't his fault. It was sinking before he got there. It was
Right.
a great play for
Yeah.
Donnie
And he
Matrick.
got a lot of money out of it.
Yes, he
A lot
did.
of money. All right, well, with that said, guys, that wraps up this week's show. And we do have a question of the week for you guys, which so many options because we've got Phil Fish, we have the Sexuality in Gaming.
We don't know enough about Phil Fish. Sexuality in gaming is one of those loaded issues.
So it's Sexuality in Gaming then, because it's a loaded issue.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the topics that we talked about? I mean,
Does
do you-
Dragon Crown turn you on, baby?
just Dragon's
Doesn't turn it
Crown?
on.
Are you? Do you find it
Does
offensive?
it make you horny?
Does it make
No.
you horny? Do you find it offensive? Do you find it?
Harry's like, no.
Are you?
Is the way to balance out all of this hypersexuality of females in games giving all of our male characters giant dicks? Is that gonna work?
But that's funny.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to come back from
Well,
that.
and then they actually use it as weapons as well. Use it as a club.
Let's not ask that
Fencing
question.
with penises.
Clubs, you mean? It's actually battle baton. So, anyways, what do you guys think about the issue? I mean, from a lot of our debate and what we're sparking and talking about, who do you kind of agree with, who do you disagree with, and what do you think? Because we'd love to hear your thoughts, and we'll talk about next week on the show. And with that said, guys, definitely follow us at Game Control Live on Twitter. You can check out our YouTube if you've been watching us on AfterBuzz TV. We now have a full Game Control YouTube channel, all Game Control content. That's Game Control Tube on YouTube. We have Game Control Rewind going up on it. We've got interviews going up on it, and we'll have even more shows coming in the works going up on it. So definitely check out Game Control Tube. So with that said, guys, we're gonna peace out on Too Far Away Times remix, high quality HD remix
I'm liking it.
from Chrono Trigger by Fenix Angelus. Had to go out on something nice and positive.
Yes,
I think,
okay,
after
we can all be
this-
friends.
after
I
this.
like it.
So we all end as friends.
Argument.
I like it.
So, Too Far Away Times, guys. I'm Dave Klein. You can follow me on Twitter at the Dave Klein. That's Klein.
You can follow me at Kaorious, Kaorious.
Kaori?
You can find me at P to the Dees, and you can check out my podcast. I have a podcast called Pixel by Pixel with some of the smartest people in gaming. Dave's done the show. We'll have you guys outside of this room, clearly. But I'm having you guys on here slowly but surely. I know Grant's going to do an episode with us, too, so check us out. It's Pixel by Pixel on iTunes.
And you can find me on Twitter at GAK. And you can follow me on Twitter for everything that's not Dark Souls related.
And you can follow me on Game Control Live for everything Dark Souls related.
Yes.
Dark Souls, all the Dark
Thank
Souls.
you, Dave.
And you can find me at @NowQuick on Twitter.
Yep.
And also, guys, tweet out your thoughts on the question of the week at Game Control Live. You can get retweeted, we can get mentioned, and we'll talk about you. And also, if you have comments, you can also do it on YouTube. So go ahead, check it out, or iTunes. We're on iTunes as well. We're
Yeah,
everywhere. We're
everywhere.
everywhere. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Stay tuned for Game Control Rewind for Dishonored.
Yeah.
Headed by Patrick Dees over there.
Dishonored
There
time,
See you
baby.
guys later. Game
Bye.
Control Rewind coming up next.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.